Hi, and welcome to Life in DNA with Amanda Renee. Remember to please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. So yeah, let's get started today. I wanted to give a quick update on my health stuff going on. If you've listened before, I have Hashimoto's and I am trying to find someone to help me figure out the root cause of that and actually heal whatever's wrong so that the Hashimoto's can go into remission or be completely healed. And I recently, through my husband, found a doctor locally that they don't take insurance and you pay a monthly fee, but you get to go anytime for primary care. But she also will do any testing that you and her feel like it needs to be done, and she will send you to a specialist in the field if it's not something that she can take care of, and typically those people will take your insurance, so help pay for some of that, and you can get your blood work done either for a cash fee with her or through your insurance if I go like to the hospital or DLO or LabCorp, somewhere like that, to get my blood drawn. So I had a consult with her this week and went really well. I know my paperwork was a little overwhelming. They had given me paperwork to fill out when we went there for my husband, and they had a page with all the different types of symptoms that you might be having, and it was crazy how many I had to circle. So she basically told me that I'm a puzzle and she loves puzzles. So I was really encouraged and really excited that she wants to help me find like why I'm having issues and get down to the root cause of that. First things first, I've been struggling with headaches. I really hadn't discussed it with a doctor until recently, when I had almost a whole 5 days with a headache that I couldn't get to go away. And then I went to see somebody, and she suggested I might have to see a neurologist for it. But that was the first time. I've always had so many other symptoms that I've never really discussed the headaches in detail with my other doctors. But since they've been, I did what the other doctor suggested and keep a diary of all the headaches, and I typically have more days with headaches than without. Sometimes they'll go away by themselves, sometimes not. But I typically have more days with than without. And so I told her about that since it was on my mind recently. And she said that, combined with my memory issues and the fact that I do get a little dizzy sometimes, I'll just be sitting there and I'll tell my husband, I'm like, oh, I just got dizzy for no reason. So she is sending me to get a CT scan of my brain with and without contrast, and I have that coming up next week. So I'm hoping that there's nothing to find in that, but if there's something concerning, I guess it's better to find it now than to wait. So I'll let you know how that goes. So yeah, that's where I am with that. I will be getting my hormones tested in a week or two, and my new doctor is in the process of getting all of my history, my medical history for my other two doctors. I get to cancel my appointment with my doctor in the city, and I'm excited about that, especially since they changed doctors on me. I haven't even met this one. I don't even know if she's gonna be helpful, so I'm happy to not have to drive the city for that. So yeah, I'm excited about that, and I'm excited to figure things out and actually get some help. So that is always exciting. But I was going to talk about homeschooling again, about picking out, trying to pick out curriculum for the next year. I always like to go ahead and get it, right when you get the money back from taxes, so that it's out of the way. It's not an expense I have to wait for. We probably won't be through with this grade, the grades that are currently in, until June, and we won't actually start until August. But I like to order at least the majority of things, especially the basics that I know they're going to need. I like to order those ahead and get the major expense out of the way. So I know how much, we have left. And we used Masterbooks. This was Masterbooks. That was their 2023 catalog, and my daughter and I were going through it. We just got the 2024 in today, and I'm so excited to go through it. I have not gone through it yet, but I'm excited. Because I know there's some new things in here that were not in last year's. And yeah, I'm gonna make myself a cup of coffee and go through that and get all excited for ordering curriculum. It's kind of like Christmas when you they call it Box Day, and a lot of times you can post pictures to the Masterbooks website, and pretty much with any curriculum they have a box, what's called Box Day, where you get your curriculum and you get it all out and you're all excited. But I wanted to talk about a resource that Masterbooks has that's really handy, even if you choose not to use Masterbooks curriculum. It's very, very handy to have. And maybe next time I will get it to flip through, because I have it for both of my kids. It's called the Cumulative Record, and it looks like this, and it's a bunch of different pages, and there's one for every year, either pre-K or kindergarten, all up to 12th grade. And if you keep grades, I typically don't start keeping grades until I keep a few in junior high, and then in high school, obviously I'll have to, so that she can get her credits. But if you grade, you can put the grade, but you can list every subject you taught with them that year, the curriculum you used. It has a place for pictures every year. I keep forgetting to print them out and put them in there, but you can do that. I think it has like their height and weight. I usually take that from their well child checkup paperwork. It has like a place to put their strengths and weaknesses, physical activities, physical strengths and weaknesses, spiritual strengths and weaknesses, big things that happen. It's really, really great, and it's pretty cheap. It's like $7.19, so it's affordable. Let's see. It also says, and this is going to be really helpful for me because my daughter is going into 9th grade. Gosh, I can't even. It felt like yesterday she was in kindergarten and I had years and years and years to teach her. But it has a student high school transcript, templates and teacher resources, a blank grade record, science lab report, reading list, field trip record, curriculum planning, 180-day schedule, certificate of completion, progress report, transcript sample, math objectives, checklist for grade 1 through 7, language objectives, and key scripture list. And I need to go back through. I don't know if maybe they've updated it. I don't know if mine had all of that. If it did, I need to go back and look through it. I've only used it to keep track of what curriculum they used and like what their basic grades were. Unless they really struggled in something, I typically give them an A, because I'm the one sitting there with them, doing their work. And if they struggled with something, then I might do something different. But they have done really great so far. So Masterbooks also, they have different bundles set for the different, from kindergarten on up, with their basics, and then you can go through and add different things if you wanted to. But typically with their basics, you can hit all the, I think they always have a math, a language or grammar, a history, a science, and then they'll have an elective, some options. They'll have a bunch of options listed for those grades. And when you go on their website, they also have it listed like that. You can either search by subject or you can search by grade, and it'll have all the options over there for the different categories, which is really helpful, especially if you have not planned out what you want for your kid to do, or if you're new to Masterbooks and you don't know what there is for their grade level. I typically go and pick and choose because I know, like with their math, my son he's always been ahead in math, and so he is on, no, that's grade 4. He is on the grade 5. Right now we're paused in the book and we're taking time to get him caught up on math facts and his multiplication table and things like that, so that because we ended in the book on factoring, and so it'll just be so much easier for him to grasp that if he has his multiplication table down. So we're paused for that. My daughter is going to be in algebra, elementary algebra, and so that's gonna be fun. That book actually has 3 books. She was a little intimidated when I showed her that. It comes with a student book, a solutions manual, and a teacher guide. And normally the answers are in the back of the student book and you're supposed to pull them out. And I keep them in a binder. But this one has a whole solutions manual, so that ought to be fun to teach. My son this year is doing the cursive course, and surprisingly, I mean, he is a 10-year-old boy and he is really good at cursive. I really thought I had put it off. I got it for him last year and then I put it off. I wanted him to build his writing skills a little bit before we started that. So I just figured, oh, he's a boy, he's not gonna do great. He really is good. I'm very impressed with him. Now sometimes when it gets too repetitive, it just looks like waves across the page, but when he's actually trying and he's doing his work, he's really, really good at that. Next year he will be doing language lessons 5, and we already have the little yellow book because you use it from level 3 to level 5. And we had it with my daughter. That's the great thing about using Masterbooks with them. Unless it's one whole workbook, I only have to order the workbooks for my son. I already have most of the teacher's guides, which is awesome. But the language lessons is all one book. But I have the little book that goes with it. And in this year's, there should be, because they are, everyone really pushed Mrs. Pratt, the lady that wrote the language lessons courses, to go ahead and write them out through high school, because we love the curriculum so much. Just the way she does it and the way she goes about it, we love it so much. So everyone kind of pushed for it, and now they're doing it. They have 7th and 9th out. I think 10th is coming out this spring, and then they'll work on 8th and up. 8, 11, and 12, I believe, after this. So my daughter will be she'll be in 9th grade, so she'll be getting level 9. And they also go through Pilgrim's Process. So they always pick a biblical book to go through once you're 3rd and up. And it's for 3rd through 5th, it's that little yellow book that's 101, what's it called? 101 favorite stories from the Bible. On that day that they go through that, there's a 1-page, it's usually just a few little paragraphs to read from a Bible story. And then on the facing page, there's a picture of the story, there's a little title under the picture, there's a scripture, typically not very long, and then there's 3 questions you ask the child to make sure they comprehended what you talked about. And for their lesson that day, they draw a picture. Sometimes I've seen people on the Moms and Masterbooks Facebook page, if their kids are kinetic or hands-on learners, then they will get Legos and they'll let them build the picture out of Legos, which I think is really cute and creative. But my son actually likes to draw them. So they draw the picture, they write the caption, and they write the scripture. So they get a little writing practice there. And so that's 3rd through 5th. 6th grade, they use the 10-minute Bible journey book. And my daughter really enjoyed that one. It's, a little higher reading level. It looks like 7th. Now, we didn't have it. This wasn't out when my daughter was in 7th grade, so my son will get to use it. But when he gets up there eventually. But they came out with 7th, and they use a book called God's Story. And sorry. And then, like I said, 9th grade, they're using Pilgrim's Progress. So I'm excited about that. And then we tried, they have a couple other choices. They have writing strands, and then they have Jensen's grammar. And my daughter is also going to do the vocabulary from here. She likes improving her vocabulary, so out of the 4, that's what she picked. Because there's also grammar, format writing, and punctuation that she'll eventually have to do through high school. We tried writing strands, and we didn't care for it. And if you watch any of the Masterbooks podcasts, even the guy, I think he's the president now, but he used to be in charge of marketing. And he would even say, a lot of times with writing strands, you either love it or you hate it, because it's more of an out-of-the-box type writing program. And my daughter and I are both very much, give me the rules and tell me what you want, and then I will write according to that. We don't like the whole abstract part of it. So we didn't particularly care for that. And so that is why we will be doing the language lessons. I am so excited that they continued that on, because I really love how that was set up. Now, it goes through, like I said, the Pilgrim's Progress. So because she's in 9th grade, she'll need more literature, and they have 3, let's see, they have those 3 that are actual literature programs. They also have one that's called Christian Reading Companion for 50 Classics, that you can go through for literature, but she chose the British Lit. They have American Lit and World Lit and British Lit, and she chose British. We got online, because if you look online, they'll show you the first few pages of the curriculum, and you can kind of see kind of the scope and sequence, some of the, I think it even has the whole schedule, and then a few pages of the actual like worksheets and things. They have all of that on their website. And we looked ahead at the reading list, and she had actually already read, she had read A Tale of Two Cities. That's on the British Lit, and she's currently reading Jane Eyre, and that was also on there, and there were some others that she really liked. So since she's ahead of the game on this, and it is a pretty long reading list, she wanted to pick that one. So she's kind of ahead of the game already there. Because if she continues reading, I'll have her continue reading from that list, since it is so long, up until we start. And then so she'll have at least 3 or 4 of the books under her belt already before we even get started. There is another literature, but it's more of like biographies, and we tried to get that this year. She did go through and do The Life of George Washington, which was really, really good. It was just a little high on the reading level. I mean, the book was written, I think, early to mid 1800s. It's a pretty old book, and it was a little heavy for her on the reading level, so we're gonna wait and finish that, because there's also there's 3 other biographies that you read and do the worksheets on. So we'll save those 3 for further up in high school. They have what's called My Story for younger kids. My son's already finished all of them. They came out with the kindergarten one after my kids were already both through kindergarten, so I don't even know what that one exactly is like. They're kind of like a history, geography, and civics all in one for young kids, and really, really great. Both of my kids really enjoyed those books. And then they have American history, and my son is about to start the 3rd one and get to kind of from World War I, I believe, up to modern history. And they have a couple of different geographies. My son now is doing the United States geography. Next year he'll do the world geography. They have a couple of different ones. My daughter actually did this one because she liked learning, and it was actually written by the president of the company now. Elementary World History U Report. It has this big giant book with a fold out timeline, and on the timeline, on one half of it, it shows what was going on in the Bible, like from the beginning of time to, I don't remember when it ended, maybe with Christ. And on other parts of the timeline, it's showing what was going on in other parts of the world, which I loved. And that always has fascinated me, because when I learned in history, one, they didn't teach the Bible and what was happening in the Bible, so I wasn't taught what was going on. You know, you just focus on one general area typically when you're learning history. You learn American history. You don't learn what was going on in the rest of the world during all of that. And when you learn about, medieval history, you're focused in Europe and you don't realize what was going on. So I really loved that one. Some of the things she enjoyed, some of the things not as much. But you also go through a book about Noah's Ark, actually building the ark. And that was really interesting too. But that was, I believe, boys really would enjoy that. There's a lot of pretending you're a reporter and reporting on the different things in history, and either writing or giving a verbal speech about that. So that was really nice. They also have like biographies of the Revolution, timeline of the Revolution, and I think I have biographies of the Revolution, just that I used as a read along with my daughter. I wish I would have remembered that I had it to use as read along with my son. I might actually add that in with his history next year, because it was really, really interesting. They bought out a company that has a bunch of different geography things, like Map Track and different geography around the world. But I have not used those, so I can't. A lot of people like them though, so I'm sure they're fine. And then my daughter is in the middle of world history. She is wrapping up the Middle Ages, and so she'll be starting and finishing the modern age next year. And Then they have a high school American history, a high school world history. And that's probably going to be either what she'll do in 10th and 11th grade. And then they have a civics and the Constitution course and an intro to economics. Each one of those is a half a year course and half credit. So you would probably need both of those to graduate with all of your credits. And then the fun part, the thing I really, 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 really love about Masterbooks is their science options. Now I'll tell you, if you have struggled to find a science class that you like, for elementary, they have from kindergarten through 4th grade so far in this series, and I cannot recommend this enough. Like, it is so great. And it's the Let's Talk Science Adventures. The first one is Adventures in the World Around Me for kindergarten. Adventures in Creation, Adventures in the Physical World, Adventures on Planet Earth, and then Adventures in the Scientific Method. And that's the one my son is in now. And I love the approach. It's short and sweet, but you get a lot of information out of it. There's different, very easy projects to do with typically stuff you'd have around the house. I don't think I've ever had to buy anything super special for it, except for maybe a set of magnets, and they used that in a couple of the different classes. So I cannot recommend that enough. Those are awesome. They have the God's Design series. Now, I loved these classes, but my daughter found them very overwhelming. There is an awful lot of reading in them, but they are really good, and they have experiments and stuff in them too. I have not tried using it with my son because we've been trying to fit in a bunch of different sciences for him. They didn't have the series that I said I love so much. They didn't have that yet when my daughter was in elementary, so she didn't get the benefit of having those. She had to use kind of the harder classes. My son, they have a whole zoology course that my son is going through now, and it is so great. I love that one too. Next year, and I already ordered this for him, but we're not going to start it till next year because I'm tired of overwhelming him with 2 sciences just to get caught up on the science classes. But he will be doing their paleontology course. That one I am looking forward to. I already had most of the dinosaur books because when we first found Masterbooks, I got really excited and I ordered. They have really great flash sales. I think I mentioned this last time, but if you didn't hear last time, they have really great flash sales every Tuesday. So if you're signed up on their email list, they'll let you know. It's usually on Tuesdays around like 10 in the morning Central Time. And they will have sometimes whole curriculums, like half off or more. And then different books, and sometimes those books are used in some of the curriculum for like $3 or $4. Like, it's crazy. The flash sales are awesome. And I've really built up our library by doing that. And a lot of times I'll already have the books for courses they have coming up, and all I have to do is order the workbooks to go with them. So it ends up saving me money later on. They do have an elementary science, soil, sea, and sky. My kids never did do that one, but it looks really interesting. It has one of those big long books that opens up. I have a few of these books again that I got on a flash sale, but I hope one of my kids picks it sometime because it always looked interesting to me. But it's just general science, and there's 2 different years that you do them, and one year you cover oceans, astronomy, weather, and minerals, and the next year geology, archaeology, caves, and fossils. But those books are really big and pretty and have a lot of pictures. I'm kind of a science nerd, so I bought this book so that I could look through them myself whenever I get a chance. And sometimes I do. I had ordered a book they have on, it's probably in the section for adults, but about the Tower of Babel. And I'm currently in the middle of reading that. I don't see it in this one, but it's really good so far. The Elements of Faith. That one is actually a credit, and it goes through the periodic table element by element. They study one different element every day for 4 days, and then they have a quiz over it. My daughter is loving that class. And I want to go back and read the book when she's done, because, when I was in school, we only learned about a few, and you had to memorize a lot of the table and memorize a lot of the formulas and stuff, but we didn't ever really learn what a lot of the elements did. And so I want to go back and read that myself. She is leaning more towards Intro to Anatomy and Physiology, and they have 2 of those broken up by the system. So in level 1, you're learning about the muscular system, the cardiovascular and respiratory system, and then the nervous system. And then next year she'll do level 2, which is the digestive system, the reproductive system, and then special systems. And I'm excited about that too. I had actually, before they combined the books, these used to be 3 different individual books, and they just added, I think, these last 2. But they combined them to make them easier for people to use as a curriculum. When we first started using Masterbooks, I actually ordered a couple of these for myself so that I could study. I thought I was having heart palpitations and stuff, and I wanted to study the heart on my own, so I ordered those for myself. They have a few different of an applied engineering that I'm excited about. I want one of my kids to definitely do that. They have a couple of astronomy courses, an archaeology course, and then you get into the high school biology, chemistry, and physics. And those are for, high school. Oh, this is another one. I told my daughter, if you pick a regular science, I will order this, if I can talk my husband into it. I will order this for you, only if I get to read it and do it too. Because it is Intro to Forensic Science. And you learn to examine and analyze crime-related evidence using the knowledge of chemistry, entomology, botany, and genetics. And that is my thing. I love it. When I was in my 20s and I lived off in the big city for a whole year, I got to work in a environmental company's lab for just a few months at the end before I was moving back. And it was my favorite job ever. I would love to be in a lab somewhere. So she was interested in that course too, but I said, if I can talk your dad into it, I will pay for it out of my little paycheck if I have to, because I want to do that class too. They have a survey of science history and concepts, and advanced pre-med studies, life science origins and scientific theory. And again, there's so many, and my daughter only has 4 years left, and she really wants to do this one. And I told her, if she wants to save it and do it in the future, I'm fine with that too. But I told her if it's just the information she's wanting and she doesn't necessarily need it for a credit, because she's going to have so many other science classes that she wants to do and she'll have credit for, as these books come up in the flash sale, I'll buy them so that she can just read them as extra credit or something, because that particular one is very much apologetics, knowing why believing in creation, that God created everything, versus evolution, why that is. And it goes into a lot of detail. There's two different books and 3 different DVDs that go into teaching that. And that's another one I would like to go in with her, because I love science so much, and all of that is fascinating to me. I read a lot of stuff by Ken Ham, and so I like to kind of know what I'm talking about in case anyone ever tries to debate me on that. They have an intro to astrophysics that I guess just came out this last summer. That looks interesting. And then they have electives. A lot of that is Bible courses for young ones. They have Where Faith Grows. My son did level 1. I don't remember if we did level 2. Because I think level 1 came out when he was in a higher grade, and then we jumped up to one of the other ones. Then they have More Than Words 1, More Than Words 2. He's up here. And then they have Foundations in Worship, which my daughter will do next year, and Foundations in Faith, which she is doing this year. And she loves this. This one is by Israel Wayne, and I have several of his parenting books and homeschooling books. He's really great. But the Foundations in Faith, I would recommend that if you're a Christian, for every student. I would even recommend it if you're an adult and you've never really had one of those classes, or I know some churches will offer classes where they talk about that, like learning why you believe what you believe. But if you never have, I highly recommend it for adults too. I mean, it's a high school level course, but it really goes through everything. The thing I loved about it, I watched a video where they interviewed Israel Wayne, and they talked in detail about it. And at the time I was going through the courses, my pastor sent me through the courses to get credentialed. I still need to take a few tests in order to get my credentials, but I took all the classes, and a lot of the stuff I learned was in this book. I mean, it was awesome. So I highly recommend that. If you're a Christian and you want to know, okay, I believe this, but why do I believe this? Or if you even have any questions about what you believe, definitely get that book, because it's not, it also recommends going through, there's a Great for God book that talks about different missionaries, and yeah, it's just really, really good. And my daughter is really enjoying it and learning a lot. They have a Living Healthy. I think they're trying to come out with a high school version of this. My daughter was excited when I told her that I thought I'd heard that, because she did this in junior high, and she really, really loved it. She learned a lot. She'll still quote me stuff out of that book. They have an art book, and I think they have more art lessons coming online. They have an elementary apologetics, where these books ask different questions. They're about different topics, and they'll tell you, there's the Christian history biographies that I got my daughter, and I guess there's 4 more that she has to read, and yeah, she'll do that later on. Another one I cannot recommend enough is Intro to Logic. My daughter's doing that right now in 8th grade. It's also a credit. You can do it in high school for a credit, because you can do it from 8th to 10th grade. It is so good. It's another one I want to go back and read, because they didn't teach this in school. She quotes this particular book in this class more than any other thing. Unfortunately, sometimes she uses it against me in arguments, because she'll say, "That's a fallacy, Mom." But she she's learning so much that she's picking up on different things, and she'll tell me, "Oh, I learned that in logic," and oh, we learned just today we were doing math, and it was teaching her principles of mathematics level 2, and it was talking about statistics and how you have to be very careful in picking, um, making sure if you hear a statistic, who did they really pull for that? What was their intent behind it? And she was talking to me about what she learned in logic based off of that. And then they have an apologetics in action that is a high school course. There are a lot of, I won't go into all of it. Oh, she also wants to do an intro to biblical Greek. I think they are going to have that online as well, if I remember right. They have a lot of different electives. Some of the courses in here have online courses to help kind of back them up, and then they're always adding new standalone classes like piano, guitar, sign language. I think they even have Spanish. They have a lot of different things like that they're adding in. So I can't wait to look at the new curriculum or the new catalog and see what they have coming up. But I just want to kind of show you that. I'm not affiliated with Masterbooks in any way except for the fact that I use them and I love them so much. But I just want to kind of show what was out there as options. Obviously there are tons of other curriculum sets, and I've used several of those. Masterbooks is just the one that works so good for my family. It's very much open and go. The lessons are not tedious. They're not super long. My kids really enjoy, as much as a kid can enjoy learning, they enjoy these classes. So I just want to kind of show you what was out there and kind of what we were looking at for coming up for 5th and 9th grade for our kids. But yeah, that's all I had for today. Next week I will have something else and we'll talk about it. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and hit subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.